For decades, global trade has been driven by one simple assumption: that the world would always have more workers, more consumers, and more growth. We've spent years worrying about overpopulation, fearing we'd run out of resources to sustain ourselves. For centuries, the biggest fear facing humanity was overpopulation. Too many mouths to feed, not enough resources. We were terrified of a Malthusian catastrophe. Welcome back to Global Trade and Economy. And today we're looking at a structural shift that is about to flip the global marketplace on its head. We were wrong about the population explosion. The defining economic crisis of the 21st century isn't too many people. It's the birth gap. We are entering a demographic winter that is already beginning to freeze some of the world's most powerful economic engines. Before we dive into the data and identify the countries most at risk of economic stagnation, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We track the macro trends that define our world, and you won't want to miss our upcoming deep dives into the future of global markets. And if you find this analysis helpful, give this video a like. It really helps the channel reach more people interested in the global economy. Now, let's look at the numbers. Because in the world of global trade, people aren't just consumers, they are the fuel, and the tank is running dry. To understand the crisis, you only need to know one number: 2.1. This is the replacement rate. In developed nations, the average woman needs to have 2.1 children just to keep the population stable. 2 to replace the parents, and that 0.1 to account for early mortality. If a country is above 2.1, its population grows. If it's below it, the population eventually shrinks. Today, roughly half the world's population lives in a country below that red line. Economically, this is catastrophic. A healthy economy looks like a pyramid, a massive base of young workers paying taxes, driving consumption, and funding pensions for a small peak of retirees. But the birth gap inverts the pyramid. You get fewer workers trying to support a massive, aging population that requires expensive healthcare and pensions. The math simply breaks. So who is breaking first? If you want to see the future of demographic collapse, look at South Korea. It is the canary in the coal mine, and the canary is currently on life support. South Korea's fertility rate isn't just below 2.1. It has crashed to roughly 0.72. In Seoul, it's even lower. For every 100 South Koreans today, there will only be about 72 children to replace them, and only about 50 grandchildren. The economic impact here is acute. South Korea faces a hyper-competitive job market and skyrocketing housing costs, leading to what locals call the Sampo generation, those giving up on dating, marriage, and children just to survive. Economically, this means South Korea is facing a rapid hollowing out of its workforce. Its national pension service is predicted to be depleted by the mid-2050s. They are facing an existential economic threat not in a century, but in the next 2 decades. But if South Korea is the most acute crisis, China is the most dangerous one. For decades, China's economic miracle was powered by a massive surplus of cheap labor. But that surplus is gone. Due to the decades-long one-child policy, China artificially accelerated its demographic transition. They are now aging faster than almost any society in history. China faces a unique problem economists call getting old before getting rich. Unlike Japan or Europe, which became wealthy nations before their populations aged, China is facing a massive wave of retirement while its average income is still relatively modest. China needs workers to transition to a high-tech consumption economy. But those workers simply weren't born 20 years ago. A shrinking workforce means higher wages, making Chinese manufacturing less competitive globally, while the state faces an unprecedented eldercare bill. It's not just Asia. Europe is deep in the birth gap, and Italy is the prime example of the long-term economic malaise it causes. Italy's fertility rate has been stubbornly low for decades, currently around 1.2. The result is what economists call secular stagnation. When a population ages, innovation slows down. Older populations consume less. They don't buy new houses or cars. They save. Italy's economy has barely grown since the turn of the century, while its national debt, tasked with supporting an aging populace, skyrockets. Italy shows us that the birth gap doesn't always mean sudden collapse. Sometimes it means a slow, grinding economic suffocation. So, if the engines are stalling, can we restart them? Governments are panicked. They are throwing billions at pro-natalist policies, tax breaks, free childcare, baby bonuses. But the data shows almost none of this works long-term. Once a society transitions to low fertility, it almost never goes back. Some argue AI and automation will save us, that robots will do the work of the missing humans. Others argue mass immigration is the only patch, though that comes with complex political challenges. The birth gap isn't a future theoretical. It's the economic reality of right now. The countries that dominated the 20th century with massive young workforces, like China, Japan, Germany, and South Korea, are about to face their greatest challenge in the 21st. They will have to completely reinvent how their economies function without the fuel of population growth. What do you think? Is demographic decline inevitable? And how should your country prepare for an aging future? Let me know in the comments below. If you found this data interesting, please like and subscribe for more deep dives into the trends shaping our future. Thanks for watching.